Today, I want to take you through everything we know so far about the latest Google update, where many people are hailing a true helpful content update recovery, with many sites recovering lost rankings. But of course, it's not the same across the board. So today, I want to tell you how you can maximize your results in this period. How can you position yourself to succeed and be one of those winners? So we're going to be looking at a lot of data, a lot of insights today. But first, what do we know so far? We had the official announcement from Google on the 30th of June, and it was around the 2nd of July that we're noticing the biggest ranking shifts. Now, of course, many updates tend to have an initial wave followed by a bit of correction. It takes a few weeks for everything to settle down. So on the 9th of July, we noticed a lot of changes across a lot of different domains as well. And this is all expected to carry on for around a week before things really settle down. First, just an example from my site. This is one of my one-page websites from my course. And the fact that it's just a single page of AI content means it's a very good gauge of what's actually going on algorithmically. So you can see no backlink profile, just 0.2 domain rating. We've only done citations and a press release on this, and yet the value of that traffic is $7,000 per month. But that hasn't always been the case. There's always a benefit to new sites with content freshness. So this site rocketed up originally, but then over time, we've not really worked on it much lately, so it's kind of died off. So at the end of June, we can see we were getting just 30 organic traffic. And yet by the 2nd of July, that rocketed up to a peak of 220 visitors per month. So really clear sign there of the Google update benefiting this kind of site. Now let's not forget the elephant in the room here. I published a video on this just the other day. Even for the sites that are recovering, and one way you can really affect your recovery, or indeed your ultimate success from this update, and in SEO in general, it all comes down to the types of keywords you're targeting and the type of content you're publishing. Because what we're noticing is this big decoupling between impressions and clicks over the last few months. And we can see this across the board, across many of the sites. Impressions are going up and up, but clicks and traffic are coming down. And that's because Google is fulfilling more and more searches on the actual search result with AI overviews, feature snippets, etc. So more and more people are being satisfied by the search result without having to click through to your website. But that's not the end of the world. It's extremely difficult if you're an informational publisher, and those are the kinds of publishers who were hit hardest, unfortunately, in the helpful content update in September 2023. But if you're an actual product, a service, an e-com brand, something like that, then an AI overview isn't going to satisfy that. And instead, what you're probably noticing is an increase in your conversion rate, where although traffic is going down, your conversions are either the same or improving. And this is only going to carry on as we shift into more and more AI-based search, whether it's chatbots, AI overviews. Companies are actually being recommended by these tools almost like a tailored consultant. And for that reason, conversion rates should be going up from that traffic. And it's with that I have a special new offer for you. And that is our free AI readiness report. For now, SEO still wins. Google is still the dominant player. But how can you position yourself to really maximize this upcoming AI wave? Because although AI search isn't that big yet, don't forget we've got this wide open opportunity where no one really knows what's going on yet. And it's all to play for. Loads of people are comparing this to 2005 era SEO, where all the loopholes are easy to capitalize on. The things that are working really well. So if you click the link below, apply for our free AI readiness report, and we will go through your site and evaluate what is your current potential to rank on AI search based on what we know now, based on your brand footprint, your semantics, your brand mentions, the structure of your content, and how well this positions you to rank in ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google's AI mode, so that when these continue to grow market share, you are in the prime position to benefit from that before anyone else. So click the link below, fill in the form, and eligible businesses will receive a full roadmap of how you can prime your website to dominate those AI searches. So back to what we know. It seems like a lot of sites are recovering from the helpful content update for the first time. This is the kind of excitement we see with every Google update, that is it finally going to happen? There are a lot of suggestions that if you're a niche, high quality publisher, then a lot of your content is being surfaced. So a lot more sites are being cited in the AI overviews. I think the challenge there, how many people are actually clicking through those citations? Or are they just being answered within the snippet? But it does seem that specialist niche expertise is actually finally being rewarded again. So some sites are reporting returns of 40 to 70% of their traffic back from September 2023. Again, it's a little vague whether we're regarding rankings as equaling traffic, given the changes in search. But here's an example from one of our recent clients. They only started with us a couple of months ago, and yet our strategy was still publishing a large volume of bottom of funnel content, as in content specifically targeting service and product keywords typed by people who are already looking to buy. Mass content is not the problem. You just want to avoid content for content's sake. There's still not a lot of value in us answering every question on the internet that can be satisfied by an AI overview, but simply instructing Google that these broad products actually cover all sorts of different use cases, and we can inform Google of that in a very deliberate way with a page for each individual sub-niche, then things start to get exciting. And that's how we're getting traffic graphs like this, backed by a solid link building campaign. So you can see this site was in decline from most of this year. Let me take out the organic pages to make that clearer. But then we can see end of April, and then massive growth since then, both in the ranking keywords and the overall traffic and traffic value. I really encourage you with this new change in how traffic works. I've said this many times before, focus on traffic value rather than just traffic, because it gives you an indication of how valuable that traffic actually is, how commercially viable it is, and therefore how lower in the funnel it actually is. Because if you publish loads of informational content, you'll get loads of traffic, but probably not more sales. Whereas in this case, the traffic value, we've gone from 1,200 to just under 1,600 a month. So that's approximately a 20% increase in just a couple of months. And obviously the ranking keywords report is really nice as well. So from 28 in the positions 1 to 3, to now 43 keywords in position 1 to 3. Another arguably more exciting example here for you from one of our clients. So we got them fantastic growth over last year. So from roughly around 10,000 visitors a month, all the way up now to consistently around 40,000 visitors per month, $80,000 in traffic value per month. Now, if I really zoom in here, you can see the increase in traffic actually really wasn't that much. So from 32,800, 34,000, well, almost 35,000. But look at the traffic value from 66,000 up to 81,000. So that tells us that this small shift in traffic was actually in the most relevant high value keywords, therefore the most likely traffic to actually convert and sell. Now again, it seems to be this update is specifically targeting certain types of content. So we know that e-com has been largely protected from most of the recent changes. So brands like Shopify are actually seeing, even in informational content, some pretty good ranking improvements. And actually news sites are benefiting as well. This obviously makes sense where the role of AI in news is obviously a bit dangerous. We are in this weird misinformation age of AI regurgitating AI to get cumulative error. We're getting further and further from the truth. So it makes sense that Google wants to service true news sources better. Educational sites with research content, they've gone up. And don't forget the elephant in the room here, that the sheer amount of AI content that's flooding the internet is actually diluting the amount of information gain that's available. So it seems kind of like Google is really reacting against this in terms of how can it get more trusted and authoritative sources further up. And again, in content sites, obviously this isn't going to apply to everyone. Most of my content sites are still dead, but niche expertise sites are gaining ground again. I think what we really need to look out for is the classic thing where people claim, I've had a helpful content recovery, and they've gone up like that with a nice graph. But actually, if you take it back 5 years, the reality was they went up like that before, tanked in September 2023, and now their recent growth is just like that. This tiny fraction of where they were before, even if it's a 300% ranking improvement. So a lot of this data has come from Systrix analysis, lots of e-commerce sites rocketing up. Macy's and Shopify are notable examples. Overall, experts like Barry Schwartz, Steve Payne, Glenn Gabe, they're all aligning with this view that could it be that Google is finally figuring out the whole information gain angle? How can we highlight specific specialist knowledge better? Finally, that might actually be showing in the ranking. So what should you be doing about this? Well, a lot of it really comes down, as usual, to classic SEO fundamentals. So, experience, expertise, authoritative, and trust. You want proper author credentials, sources, real-world expertise. So you basically want to boost the brand of your actual website and boost the brand of the actual authors of that brand. So that can be as simple as LinkedIn and social media profiles, but equally good link building. If you can get your brand and your authors featured on as many platforms as possible, good authoritative content sites, then all that enhances that footprint, enhances that trust in who you are, what you do, and where you do it. Of course, we do still want to optimize for AI overviews. So clear headings, concise paragraphs, factual information that can be easily extracted. And you can also do that by using schema. And again, with AI overviews, there's this argument for consistency in basically citations. So while I said who you are, what you do, and where you do it, you don't just want that on your own website, but if you can get that onto as many other websites as possible and try and get those into the top 10 of Google, basically through high-level guest posting, then I'm seeing a lot of reports that the AI overviews are extremely easy to manipulate. So do 10 guest posts talking about who you are, what you do and where you do it. Then put that into a press release as well, so that gets distributed to 400 websites. You're just stamping that authority, stamping that clear statement all over the internet and linking it all back to your website as the information. Now, topical authority, this is always an interesting one. We know that publishing content for content's sake is dead. This update is clearly prioritizing good, tightly focused content, not sites that have tried to cover everything. Just look at how HubSpot suffered this year. So topical authority is not about publishing thousands of web pages that don't contribute anything, but you do want to be comprehensive about your topic. So when you produce your page, targeting your main keyword, make sure you're thinking about the knowledge graph, all the related entities that Google uses to understand that topic. Look at the people also ask snippets. You want to answer every relevant question about that particular niche subject. So what you do, how you do it, what it costs, where you do it, what materials you use, what qualifications you have. Because ultimately you're trying to persuade a machine that you are the ultimate answer, the ultimate resource. And therefore you've got to tick all those right boxes in such a way that then goes into the vector database and can then easily be read. Technical foundations. I often overlook technical SEO because people generally overcomplicate it. But you need your website to be easily accessible. So you want good page speed. Don't worry too much about having the most beautiful website in the world. Just keep it simple. Structured data. Make sure Google can actually understand and crawl your website. And site architecture. If you do end up getting a bit of a bigger site, make sure it follows a logical pattern. Not all these different pages all over the place, but clear subfolders. So time will tell. It's still a bit early to be declaring this analysis. I'm not seeing thousands of publishers hit by the helpful content updates suddenly rejoicing that they've got their incomes back. But it's a step in the right direction. And it does seem to come down to niche specialism and authority, which has always been the case, but the fact that Google's doubling down on this is even better. So we need more citations, more mentions, more backlinks to really enhance that subject matter authority and trust. And in your content, yes, we want that information gain, but you can get a lot of the way there through correlational tools because you're still talking to a machine. So yes, we want unique insights and data, but crucially, you need to present it in the way the machine can actually understand. So it's all the different keywords, all the different entities, organized into headings, FAQs. If you do all that, there's a good chance that you'll be rewarded in this update.